Hi everybody, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to teach you how I make Martha Stewart's braised pulled pork. Okay, here it goes. So you're going to need an 8 to 9 pound pork shoulder, also known as Boston butt, some light brown sugar, kosher salt or any coarse salt, ground mustard, and cayenne pepper. Smoked paprika is what I use. That's what makes mine different. Ground cumin. And I also leave out the black pepper. Martha Stewart's recipe calls for black pepper. So first we're going to do is going to make the rub. You want to start this the night before because you need to let it sit in the refrigerator for at least 8 hours. Okay, so I always just do it the night before. So it's a half a teaspoon of the ground mustard, a half a teaspoon of the cumin, the ground cumin, a half a teaspoon of the cayenne pepper, 2 teaspoons of the smoked paprika, and 3 tablespoons of the brown sugar, and then 2 tablespoons of the salt. If you add the black pepper, I've never added the black pepper because mom's sensitive to it, and I've never missed it. I mean, I don't know, I never tried it before, so it's popular. Everybody asks me to make it. I actually made it for the wedding this summer, so I thought I would share it with you guys. So I just mix it up and I break up the brown sugar with my fingers and make sure I get it all incorporated evenly. So now I'm going to grab some paper towels because I'm going to take the pork butt. It's also, the pork shoulder is also called a Boston butt, and it usually has the bone in it. And you want to make sure it has a good, layer of fat on it. Not tons, you don't want to have to trim any away because, whatever you throw in the garbage is just money down the drain. Money down the drain. But you're just going to give it a rinse. And then put it on some paper towels. And when we go to cook it tomorrow, we'll cook fat side down, but you want it to braise fat side up. So now I'm taking just plastic wrap, excuse me, 2 long sheets. I'm overlapping them a tiny bit because we're going to totally wrap this. And what I found out the first time I made it, that the salt draws out the moisture, and you want to make sure that you have it sealed really good or it'll drip on your refrigerator. So what I've done is I've put some down on the plastic wrap, put the meat down on it, and then I've rubbed the rest all around, all 4 sides, 6 sides technically, all 6 sides, top and bottom, and all 4 sides. And now I'm wrapping it like a package. And then I'm taking plastic wrap, I'm going over the seam and in the other direction. And then I'm going to do it one more time over the seam and then in the other direction. And then I'm going to leave it on this pizza tray just in case we do have any leakage. It'll catch on the pizza tray. But you can, whatever fits in your refrigerator. So tomorrow, when you go to cook it, you want to preheat your oven at 325 and you need to take it out and let it rest on the counter for a half an hour. You want the meat to relax a little bit according to the directions. All right, and then after the half an hour is over, what I have here is actually Martha Stewart's pot that I got from my good friend Trish. You want to coat the bottom with oil. The recipe calls for 2 tablespoons, but the first time I did 2 tablespoons, I found that it wasn't enough. And as you can see, there's pieces of the enamel missing from my cast iron. Is because the first time I made it, I didn't oil the sides, and the meat got stuck to it and stuck. So now I oil the sides. I take a brush and I oil the sides. What's very important is you want to pat it dry. You want to get off, you want to rub it dry. You want to leave some of the spices on there. You just want to pat all the extra moisture on. When the oil gets nice and hot. Now her directions are also to braise it on, not braise it, I'm sorry, to sear it on medium high. But I found, and I did it by accident at first, and then the second time I made it, I noticed the difference. I actually like to burn that fat. That's why I started on high. I put the fat side down first, and it's going to be black. And you guys will be like, why is it black? She burned it. That is caramelizing the sugar, and it's also adding to the smokiness. Since we're braising this and not smoking it, we need to do the smoked paprika helps, but also this burning it. And you'll see when I turn it around in a second. Then I just take my big fork and I make sure a few minutes on each side. And I have this speeded up for time. I think it's, roughly a minute or 2 on each side, depending on how hot your pan is. But you just want to make sure you sear each side. all 6 of them. I do the opposite of the fat side last because I just put it on there when I'm done. So I do all 4 of the sides after I do the fat. And you can see there the fat's nice and burnt. I know that sounds silly that you would do that on purpose, right? So once you have all the sides done, you're gonna need 2 cups of hot water, and that's what's gonna create the braising liquid. It's nothing fancy. So just lay it flat, and I try to tuck it back into itself. I pour the 2 cups of hot water, cover it, and put it in that 325-degree oven. Now, here's the easy, not so easy part. You don't just walk away forever. You set your timer for an hour, and you come back and you baste it every hour. You cook this for 5 to 6 minutes, and I found that at 5 to 6 minutes. Sure, she did. 5 to 6 hours, and I have found that 5 hours is enough if you were doing a smaller roast. This is an 8.5-pound roast, and I gave it the whole 6 hours, and that just makes the meat just fall apart, and the flavor is infused. So I'm only showing you me basting it twice before the end because there's no need for me to film me basting it every hour, but you can see how it comes along. I'm just using a ladle. I have a ladle that fits perfectly down the side, and then you just set it again for another hour, and it come back in an hour. And then when it's all done, I give it its last quick baste, and I am going to just shred it. I have a tongs, and you'll notice that you won't be able to pull this thing out of the pot. You'll have to be able to pull out chunks and sections. And I'm sorry you don't see all of it here, but it's coming. You'll see it. But I actually can shred it without forks. I just poke it down with the tongs, and then I transfer it to my crock pot because that's where I keep it warm. So many of my friends thought I made this in the crock pot because whenever they've had it, it's been in the crock pot. But I just keep it in the crock pot to keep it warm for myself. Okay, and you can see here I'm just stabbing it. I'm trying to shred it a little bit with the tongs, but then I'm going at it with forks. Any big chunks, I do leave it chunky. I also remove whatever big pieces of fat they're on, but I have family members who love fat, and not that live in this house, but my family members in New York. So I would leave it for them, but I take it off for me because I don't like it, and my family doesn't really care for it. So see how I'm just really shredding big chunks of it with just the tongs. And then I'm just going at it with the forks. I know it's high speed. So what I'm secretly doing there is picking out some fat. And I'm also secretly picking out the prize. When you're the cook, you get the prize, You get the best pieces, whatever you want. And I'll show you in a second what the best piece is. But you're just going to repeat this with all of the meat. Okay, and it makes a crock pot full. What I usually do is I have this if company's coming, which I actually made this because I just wanted it. Like I said, we made it for the wedding. I hardly got any, so I was in the mood for it. But I usually make this when company's coming. We eat it for that one meal, and then I freeze 2 more meals for it worth. So I'm doing is I'm taking the board that I shredded everything on and pour it back in the pot because I'm going to take the pot and I'm going to pour the liquids into my fat separator. Okay? Careful, it is still hot. And there is a little bit of oil in that bottom of the pan, but mostly that's like good bits of juices and stuff. And you'll see in a minute, I just scrape out whatever I can. And you see how dark that pan is? This pan comes very clean, except for the very bottom. So then I'm going to keep it on warm. My crock pot does that. This one was $20 from Walmart. So when you're the cook, you get to eat this. This is what touches the pot. It's almost like pulled pork jerky, but it's so good. It's good to be the king. So after the fat is separated, then you notice I pour the juices in the bottom. And it's okay that some of the little fat goes in there because you actually could use it for moisture. It spreads out. And then all the good bits because I don't throw anything out. This stuff is so good. I hate if someone even puts crumbs in their plate. I want to eat their plate. So what I'm showing you here now that the pulled pork is done is the way I like to serve it. I take my flat griddle and I like to butter the hamburger buns and I like to toast The hamburger buns, sorry. I make myself whole wheat and I make them white. And I just toast them until they're done toasting. And there you go, that's what they look like. I flip them over and I toast the backs. There you go, like that. I know, asbestos fingers, right? Get a tongs, get a tongs. Stop using your hands. So yeah, so I flip them over. I like to toast the bottom. If you have, she recommends potato bread, and these are great on potato rolls. I'm sorry, potato rolls, but they didn't have any when we went to the store. I also like them on big seeded buns. They're good like that too. So here I'm just gonna make a sandwich, and that's it. I just take a big old glob, and you could serve it with or without barbecue sauce. That's totally up to you. I like it both ways. And when I reheat it, as I told you, I freeze 2 portions. I fill a gallon-sized Ziploc bag with 2 portions, and I freeze it flat, just like I do my meat. And then when I go to reheat it, I put it in a frying pan with anywhere from a 1/4 cup to 1/2 cup of water and let it cook down. And then you can add barbecue sauce to it to reheat it as well. So, and that's it. I hope you really enjoyed this tutorial. If you do, give it a thumbs up. And don't forget to share with friends and family, anybody you know who'd be interested. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments down below. And don't forget to join this crazy family. Click subscribe and hit that little notification bell. It'll let you know when I upload a video. And as always, you take care. God bless. See you next time. Bye.